Okay, so we'll call Sergio Dagnino on stage while we try to um, connect again with Mr. Mutinelli. Welcome, Sergio. We have no videos from you. Okay, so Prosit Group. Can you tell us about your idea? Because you've been a manager for quite a while in the wine sector. So you had significant experiences in other groups.
Tua idea e poi raccontaci a che punto.
How did this idea come about? Good morning, everybody. So in my past 16 years in the biggest cooperative group in Italy, I could discover many companies. Everybody was discussing about the fragmentation of the Italian wine sector, which is true and which is dramatic because it has consequences. It can cause a damage. But there are many small wineries with great brands, great quality. They have a passion for entrepreneurship, but they cannot, make a leap. So maybe money is needed, but in 90% of cases, it is not about finance. It is about mindset. It is not. It is about the distribution network. So maybe the wineries who have potential but could not take this leap, maybe it's time to help them. So in 2019, I built Prosit. I met the Made in Italy Fund. We have great understanding because they manage a fund, but he's not from the extremely financially oriented. So Prosit is the strategy to aggregate high-level, high-profile wineries according to which criteria? Prosit's strategy is to create a portfolio of premium brands from the 5 most important regions for Italian export, and to help them create synergies in terms of portfolio, purchase, sales, distribution, etc. The wineries need to keep their individuality because we want families to run the business. They should be able to transmit the strength of the region, Apulia, Abruzzo, Veneto. But they should also understand that if we do not work together, Italy runs a great risk. How do you manage real estate in these cases? I think we should really recognize the importance of small and medium enterprises in Italy because they invested, they worked very hard, and that's especially true in the world of wine because we do not always take into account the strong brands. Of course, entrepreneurs invested 90% in building the winery, and the whole family works there. And of course, they also have to face the weather, so extreme heat or extreme rains, and this can affect production. So of course, they would invest in that and not in brands. But we have to put ourselves in the entrepreneur's shoes. What do they need? So some of them want to have a guarantee for the brand to survive. Some who wants their sons to be trained in management. So we acquired the majority of the commercial activities, so brand, customer portfolio, and industrial activity. Then the entrepreneur might love the estate because maybe it has a historic value. We leave the real estate to them. So we really have to face the situation. It is very difficult to reach agreement because there is a personal component that's very big. So price is not that relevant. There is an attachment, a kind of romanticism for the real estate. So if the entrepreneurs want to keep the real estate, that's fine by us. So we invest in the winery, but they have to of course, guarantee to us that they will keep on managing the company following the trends of the international market. So, for example, a decrease in growth has to be faced because Italy produces a lot of volume, but there's a lot of unbranded wine. So we have -5%, but if we removed Pinot Grigio and Prosecco, the situation will be even more dire because Sangiovese, Barbera, and few other red wines kept a very old mindset, so they are not looking at the international profile. So beginning in 2010, I appreciated a change in consumption driven by women and young people. So women and young people are not fond of classic red wines. Of course, we cannot win them and have them used to Barbera and Sangiovese. So we have to evolve in line with the market. How many wineries do you have? We have a winery in Apulia, Abruzzo, in Salento, in Veneto, between the Valdobbiadene and Conegliano area. And by the end of years, we will add Tuscany and northern East Italy. So your turnover for 2021, in May we acquired another winery. We've seen so far what COVID has changed. We should also reflect on what hasn't changed, because we shouldn't forget how we lived from February to May 2020. And for the wine sector, this period was very important. But in May 21, we acquired an American importer. So with Amazon, you have a return policy at 30 days. We bought this importer. We cannot travel to the United States. I think US have gone crazy because we're really trying to get into the US. So we acquired this company. I am the president and I have no way to go there. So you have 70 million euros turnover, including the distributor. So the goal for end of 2021 will be 90 million. So it is a medium to big player for the Italian sector. That's correct. Do you have other projects? Because you have private equity. I think you have 3 years plans. If I may, of course, I cannot, tell you all the projects. But I would like to go back to the things that COVID hasn't changed, because I think they are kind of our weakest points. If you remember, in March of last year, on all international newspapers, Italy was the super spreader. I remember the pandemics as if it was beginning from Italy. So this is terrible for us because we export a lot of food and wine. And we had very bad luck, but Italy maintained its appeal. So this is one of our strengths that we have to consider, although we cannot rest on our laurels. The second aspect, in May, the president of Torrevento, our winery in Apulia, he's also the president of Valore Italia, one of the biggest certification entities in Europe. So we were looking at the impact, harvests, and stocks were exploding because we weren't selling anymore, so which could mean a destruction of the product, of the sector. Because prices could drop and everyone could take advantage of this. This didn't happen. Some wineries had to close, but it could have been worse. And I've seen wineries closing because they were managed by entrepreneurs who had other businesses as well. So they decided to close the winery and focus on the main company. Third aspect, I'm a bit against DOC focused on a very, very specific areas. So that's a plus. The number of DOC products hasn't increased that much. So we've seen a decrease in Italian consumption. Of course, we love Pinot Grigio and Prosecco, but trends disappear, and Pinot Grigio is coming from many, many other areas, such as Hungary, New Zealand, etc. There is an extreme risk of the concentration of products. So this is something to monitor. Another thing I don't like is that all the regulation wine is frozen. Italy has a very restrictive law when it comes to wine, and climate change can really affect this because we can have half of the production disappear. So if you have a brand, what do? That's not good. So we should work on this. And going back to made in Italy, since wine is very much unbranded, we should leverage the Italian brand. So as we did for fashion, because Italian fashion is strong because we have strong Italian brands. So going back to stock exchange, IWB was listed on the market. Is it something you could do as well to acquire more visibility? Made in Italy Fund has a very interesting set of tools, and they are supporting us. So, of course, if we can maybe engage in more challenging operation, and stock exchange can help us support the project, so extended distribution and help the brands become more brands, then why not? Okay. Thank you, Sergio. Thank you, David, and talk to you soon.